Hello everyone, welcome to Habib Deep Learning Tutorials, and today we are going to see a basic use case for calculating the calories and tracking your fitness details, wherein I have tried to capture the details in the databases using the Snowflake cloud. And here how I have captured it, creating the tables, creating the structure, creating the schema, and then finally performing the transformations on top of it in order to churn the insights from that data. And you can also use it for dashboarding purposes. So let's see how we have created it. So here, first of all, I've used the account admin role for creating all the stuff like warehouses, your database, and your schema. So this is my basic raw data. You can say it as uh, basically my data lake, right? So you can call it as a data lake as well, right? So I've created a warehouse, create a replace warehouse, calories count warehouse with warehouse size as medium, and then database as calories DB, that is the database, and the schema wherein I'm going to store all my tables and create all my tables which are coming from my source, right? My source, which is my device, right? Basically. So I've churned that data, I've extracted that data first, right? And then I have loaded it into the Snowflake stages, and from the stages we have loaded it in our separate tables. So how we did that, let's see. So after creating this step, now what we need to do is we need to use our role, right? And we need to assign certain permissions on the warehouse, on the role, as well as on the database and schema as well, right? The basic thing which we did always. So since we have created this using account admin, now we need to uh, assign the permissions to the specific role which we have created for the user. So I've created this role. So I'm going to assign the permissions grant all on warehouse calories count warehouse to role this, then grant all privileges on database and schema, then grant all calories role. Then you have to also grant the permission to your user who is going to create those tables, and with the username or the user who is going to load the tables, right? So I'm gonna use calories check rule, and then so if I run this and execute it here, you see the statement is executed. Now we have changed the role to, instead of account admin, now it's calories check role, right? So here I have all my tables now. After doing this step, I am going to grant the permissions to each and every table, grant ownership of the table since I've created few tables with account admin roles after creating the stages, right? And then once you assign the role to a particular, or once you assign the permissions to a particular role or a privilege to a particular role, make sure you know it is assigned to the legitimate roles and legitimate users only. Other than that, it might create confusion. So in order to do that, and in order to assign it to a role again, we need to revoke those permissions. Otherwise, you will not be able to assign the permissions on a particular object like a table or a schema to other users, right? So this is what Snowflake restricts us. So we have to follow this approach, and then after creating your warehouses, your databases, your schemas, and your table structures, what you have to do is you have to load the data into the tables. So right for that, after granting all the permissions also, what we did is I'll show you here. Are you able to see calorie schema? So this is my raw schema. You can see this is my raw table and a raw schema where I have all the tables. I've loaded all the tables here, right? So these are all the tables which we have loaded in the raw schema. So I can show you one of the table, like the activity table. These are all the columns here, and these are your data. So this is basically, um, your data lake. You are not changing anything. You are not transforming anything in this database, right? So I've loaded the tables as it is. The rough tables, you can say, including the null values, without any joining conditions, and excluding the duplicates as well. So if you see in few of the tables, there are also duplicates here. So how to handle those things, we'll see it. Okay, so these are all the tables I've loaded. Okay, I've created first all the tables like calories, customer sample table. These are all the columns, and the data types and the constraints like null or not null, and then the distance sample, the calories sample, you'll see it all here. I hope you are able to see it here, right? The distance sample, the goal sample, and the music sample, right? And this is how we have created it. Okay, so if I show you all the tables using this command, you will be able to see it here. So I'm running this, so you will be able to see it here, all the tables. Okay, so let's just run this. Right, so here we get all the details of the tables. These are activity sample, batch sample, category sample, challenges, customer cal sample, and daily update, which is my fact table basically, right? Joining all of the tables, all the dimension tables, then distance sample and goal sample. So let me show you one of the tables so that you can get an idea like how does it look like. So in the goal sample we have it like the distance sample, we have it like all the distance. You can see the 16 rows are there, right? So here we have the details like the distances could be 5 kilometers, 10 to 15, 20, and so on, right? How much distance the person has covered, the customer has covered. So we are going to capture that details, and on the basis of that, they'll award. If they are meeting the goals, then they will award them the badges, right? So this is the goals table which we have created. So I'll show you the preview of the data on the entire data set itself. So if you see it here, we have the other foreign keys which are available in the other table for the joining purposes, and then the major data which attains to your goals, basically the goals which is running, walking. Like, can you see the duplicate over here? How to handle those duplicates, we'll see it later while during the transformation stage when I'm going to create using the Medallion architecture, where I've created the raw layer, the silver layer, and the gold layer, right, for the transformation. So here I could see two duplicates. I hope you guys can also see that. And similarly, we have customer cal sample. I'll show you here. So this is the customer cal sample. Let me show you the table. So this is the table details, right? So it contains effective date. With the effective date, it shows me the calorie count, the step counts, total number of steps taken by the customer, the distance covered based on the number of steps, the total distance covered, and the calories count. Okay. And now, since the customer, or the participant has already achieved their goal, so the target here is to find whether they are eligible for any rewards or not. Okay, so the stakeholder wants us, so the award should be given or not. Okay, so we have to calculate and determine on the basis of this logic, right? So if they meet the daily target of, like, let's say 4 or 5 or 3 kilometers or whatever they have set for themselves, then they will be awarded with certain points as 8 points. So if they're meeting this category or criteria like 5k, 6k, or 7k, which we have in the distance, right, in the distance table, so if they're meeting that criteria, on the basis of that we are gonna assign them certain rewards. Okay, so if they're meeting the 5k steps, then they will be awarded 8 points. If they're meeting 10k steps, they will be awarded 12 points. 15k steps, again 12 points. Then 20k steps, again some badge, and 12 or 18 points, or 30 points, whatever it is, right? So on the basis of number of steps being covered, the distance being covered, they are going to be awarded with certain points, right? So that again, it's a kind of a motivation app for the participants using it, but for us it is like the key insights which we need to turn whether they are meeting the targets or not, and how they are meeting their targets, and how they are accomplishing their goals, and we need to turn the insights out of it, like whether to assign them the badges, or whether to reward them with the coins, the expected and the actual coins which are there. Okay, so if I show you the badges also, so these is the badges table. I hope you are able to see the details, right? Like 5k badge, again there are 3 categories: bronze, silver, and gold. So bronze for the first 10 days, then silver for the next 50 days or so on, and then the gold for after 50 days if you accomplish it, like continue it for like next 1,000 days or somewhere. So you have a certain number of times you need to attain that particular level or that particular goal, right? So if you're consistent with it, then only you will be able to reach this level, otherwise it's very tough to crack this. I have done this personally and I know. Okay, so coming back to the insights, now here I can again match my batch ID with my distance covered and the customer ID who is accomplishing his goals or not. So these three tables, the batch table, the goals table, the distance table, and the activity table, lets me know that what activities a customer is performing, and on the basis of that I'm going to turn the insights, so whether they are able to meet their goals or not. Okay, so here you can see on first they have earned the 5k gold badge, which accumulates their 10 which coins, the batch coin generated are 12 coins, and then total coins generated are 12 for this particular, for accomplishing this particular task. Okay, 5k batch. And how they have reached this level, because they have already covered this level and this level, then only they will be able to reach this level, right? So you can check the badge effective date when the badge is issued, and on the basis of that you can see the details. All right. Okay, and there is no external validity, so I've set it to the infinite. Okay, I hope it is clear. Next, so this was my raw layer. Now coming to the bronze layer. So in the bronze layer, what we are doing is basically we are performing the data cleansing activities, right? How we are doing this data cleansing? So we are removing the duplicates and the null records, like I mentioned. Yes, like I mentioned earlier. So here, if you want to see how can we remove the duplicate records, so like I have created the stages. So if I click on create stages, show stages, it will let us know the stages. So I've created the stages using account admin role, so that's why they're not visible over here. Okay, so let me put it back here. So we should use the account admin role to view all the stages we have created. So if you see, I've executed the account admin role. Now if I say show me the stages, so I'll run the show stages command over here. Where is it? Here it is. Show stages. I'm gonna run this command and it is gonna show me all the stages which are present in my database. So now, for now, I am into the raw schema. If you see, I'm into the calorie schema. So inside this calorie schema, which is like, a delta lake, basically, or data lake, where we have just stored the data from the incoming file formats. Like I have loaded the data from CSV file formats. So I've created the stage where I've loaded it inside the calorie schema using this database. Now if you go to some other database, so let's say if I'm into the bronze schema, I'll go to this and I'll go to the bronze schema. So using account admin, I can't see that. So I have to change the role again back to, I can change it from here as well, or I can execute the command. I'm changing back to calories check role. So once the role is executed, now if you run this command again, show stages, you will see all the stages which are there. Okay, so I can show you the tables in the bronze schema as well first. Show tables in the bronze schema. So you can see all these tables are loaded using the silver table and bronze table, and then your data lake tables, calorie schema. Fine. So these are all the tables which are there in all the three. How we have loaded that? We have loaded that using a stage. So I wanted to show you the stage first. So let me just execute this schema. Okay, so let me select the schema name for the bronze schema. Where is it? I think somewhere here. One second. Yeah. So this is how we have loaded. We have created a stage name as badges. Okay, and then this is the CSV file. And if there is any error, I have mentioned the condition as continue. So I have copied the data into my table from this CSV file using the internal stage. Right? Very simple, isn't it? So make sure you are granting the proper roles, because you can only access the roles using account admin. That's the point to be remembered over here, right? Now if I say show me the stages, yeah. So first I have to change the schema. Yes, I am waiting for the schema name. So let's go to the database here, and inside the database, the calorie, I'm going to copy this name. So these are the two stages. Can you see? These are all the tables, and this is the stage here inside the bronze schema. Okay, if I go to the stage, you'll be able to see the details as well. Stage details, and this is the lineage. So this will be available in the Snowflake schema. I'll show you where it is exactly. So I have loaded one file over here, and from this file I'm gonna go back. So first let me just copy this raw bronze layer. Okay, let's go back to our worksheet. We are cleansing and inserting the records. Let's go back to the bronze schema. Where is it? Okay, let me just write it down. Somewhere it is. Use schema bronze schema. Calories db. So you can see all the three are coming. I'm gonna select the bronze one for now, and I'm going to just run this, execute this query, so that we can see, okay, what stage is present in this. Okay, once you've executed it, go back to your account admin role to list the details. Okay, now I want to show what? I want to show the stages. I want to see the stages basically. So I'm going to run this command, show stages. This is showing me the stages I have using account admin role. So you can see there is one stage present in calories db calorie schema, then raw bronze schema, and then created silver layer schema and consumption gold layer. So this is basically the files are present, the CSV files are present here, and it is with the account admin role, not with our calories count role, right? Calories check role. So make sure you're using that. Now if I say show me the stages, so how can we see the files inside this stage? Right, I want to see the file inside this. So I'm going to use what? The list command. You can use either of them. Either you can use ls @cal, or you can use list. Okay, let me just run this, selecting this. List cal. So you have to give it the proper name, which is the db calories and the schema name. So what was the schema name? We just executed, right? Raw bronze layer. And schema name is cal. Okay, let's run this. So you can see this is my stage name, and this is the file which is present. Okay, now let's say if I want to um, see the data inside this CSV file, how can I access that data, right? So in order to do that, just copy this path of your file, and you can execute it simply using dollar notation, since this is a CSV file. So you can just say select $1, $2 from this. Okay, and make sure to give the database and the schema name as well. So I'm just going to copy it from here. Control C and do it here. Okay, let's execute this. Select $1, $2 from this, or you can simply say select star. I'm just selecting two columns for now, that is $1 and $2. Okay, so you can also do a select star here to see all the data present inside the CSV file. We can do this. and I can also limit 10. 10. Okay, quickly. So I hope this is gonna make sense. Select with no columns. Okay. You have to use a dollar notation to access the files. Okay, so you have to use the dollar notation to access the CSV file from the stage. Okay. Now next is okay. So I have loaded the now how to load the data. So I have loaded it simply using copy into command into the table name. Right, like for the badges table we have this batch stage and batch sample.csv, and on I will continue, and it has loaded the data like this. So if I show you the badges table, here is the badges table. Here. And if we run this, okay, we are with the account admin role, so we have to change the role again back to our role. So you can see, right, the table, what I wanted to show is here first the stages. The stage is present in the bronze layer. Okay, the same stage is now present in the silver layer as well, right? And then the curated layer. Sorry, this our presentation of the gold layer for the stakeholder insights. Make sense? Right. Now what I want from this, basically after creating all this, what do we want? We want to transform the data first. So the transformation operation really takes time, and we have to really understand why are we doing this before coming to the aggregation part. And after loading, you have to grant proper permission. Like if I show you this table, I'm selecting few columns like 14 and 15. So it is like showing you, okay, we are with the account admin, I have to change the role basically. This is not gonna work here, so I'm changing the role back to calories check role so that it lets me execute my table data. Let me see my table data. So if I show you this thing, right, calories cal sample, so this is how it looks like. So we are capturing the date in YYYYMMDT format, the step counts, and the distance in the value and the unit. So in order to concatenate this, you have to make sure you are selecting the correct data type, right? And whether it is decimal or whether it is numeric or whether it is varchar, to be in a safer situation, right? Because if any other value comes, you should be able to handle that as well. So that is basic transformation and data handling and data cleansing, handling null values and handling duplicates. Okay, now coming to how to handle duplicates. Before that, let me show you one more thing. This is how the CSV file looks like. So you can okay, so this I think I've deleted it. So you can also drop the stages if not needed, and grant all on stages CSV file to calorie check role. So this is I have executed earlier. How to grant logos. Okay, so there was some error in this table. Okay, what is the error over here? Let me show you. So the error over here in this table is, if you see the dates, right? This is my date and this is the distance covered. Now if I want to see I want to fetch only the numeric part out of it. I don't want this unit part. How I'm gonna do that? I can do that simply using substrings. So that is what I'm doing here. Substring distance covered 1 and 4. So it is only extracting the numeric part over here and then segregating the units, right? Or if you want to concatenate, you can do that as well, like I did, right? And similarly for the calories also, I'm capturing the first three, right? 3, 4, 7. So I can do that. The name of the column, which is calorie count, 1, 3, like starting from the first position and counter till 3 backwards, giving the name as cal and then substring calories 4 and 6. So similarly, I want to extract this portion, the unit part, in a different column and a numeric part in a different column. So this is how I'm doing it using a substring function. So you can also do that if you need it, because I needed it specifically for my purposes, for extracting the numerical value and storing it in a specific column. So you can do that using a dynamic column, or like the customized column names, or the customized column for your references and use cases. Right, now next thing which we can do is, so make sure once you are done with your stages unnecessary, it will consume your credits. So make sure once you have loaded your files, landed up in your target tables in Snowflake, to drop those stages, right? So this is one of the best practices which we use. Now next is, so this is how we have loaded the tables, you can see, right? And here you can access the details from your stages like this. You can mention all the column names with the dollar notation and you can access your tables. Now next is to remove the duplicates, right? So coming to that part where we have the duplicates and then making the aggregations, right? So I've also cloned the table somewhere I didn't where I have no changes, right? Like I've handled everything inside the raw layer, and then I simply copied them into the silver layer with it if there are no changes. And for the transformation part, I'm going to perform it now to make it more ready for the consumption layer or your gold layer. So this is how we have done it. So if I show you here, this will not run using account admin. I think we have to change the role here again. Either execute the command or just simply change it from the drop down menu. So now, if let's say I want to find the maximum step counts and this maximum distance, okay, maximum distance and the maximum calorie count with effective date. So we can do that and create our tables and the charts here. Okay, what is it saying? Okay, we are in which okay, I'm inside the raw bronze layer. Okay, so let me just copy this. Okay, the schema name, and I think I was executing using calorie schema earlier. Yeah, yes, this is calorie schema, right? So if we are in the bronze schema, make sure, or the silver schema, make sure you are updating that. Let me just change it to curated silver schema, because I performed the transformation in curated silver schema. Okay, so let's quickly run this part and see the results. What are we getting in return? Right, so can you see it is generating the output as maximum of the step counts, the maximum of the distance being covered, the maximum calorie counts, and the effective date, right? So this is how we do it. Now the next is, if I want to find the sum for my business stakeholders, I want to understand, okay, this, whether the actual data and the goals being met and the distance being met by a participant is meeting, and my app is properly functioning or not, whether it is generating the reward points or not. Okay, in order to do that, what we did is we have summed and we have created a chart on the basis of that. So if you see, this was for the maximum and the minimum data we did. You can pass it here, you can change the values x-axis and label axes and show points and series. You can add column, max calories count. Okay, x-axis. So this is how it looks like, and here you can see a line or a x-axis and a y-axis integer here. Okay, so you can transform your data. So it is showing me like the maximum step counts here, and here you can add a column, max distance covered. So it is showing us a distance covered. You can see a line, max calories, or you can say effective date. Show me the maximum distance covered with the effective date. Not a line, say series month. For a month it will show us on the x-axis. Okay, so this is all you can do it here. Scatter plot, heat grid, bar. This will give you the actual insight. See, this is the maximum step counts and the distance count. You can change this any which ways based on the effective date or scorecard and the line bar. Okay, so this is how we do it. Now similarly I am gonna do this for, let me go to the result to find the details first. So we were talking about the expected coins to be added, reward points, and actual reward points with the effective date. I'm fetching the month from the effective date. Okay, and then sum of coins to be added minus the actual coins to be added to find the difference. Okay, what was expected and what is not expected and what is not added yet, or whether it is missed by the app. So this is the basic insights we are trying to uh, create as our customer insights, you can say, right? So what is it saying? Compilation error does not exist. Calories db. Okay, so we are actually inside the bronze schema, so we should make sure to update in the bronze schema or the silver schema, wherever you are. Update your schema names here. So let me just change this schema name. Okay, now if I run this, it should show us the results. Since we are performing all the transformations inside the silver schema after the cleansing in the raw schema, so this is how it is giving me the expected reward points, count of the sum of all the expected, but the actual is 216. Can you see the difference itself? And this is for which one? This is for the effective one, that is 1, which is January, and the difference is coming as 8. The 8 more points should be added, but it is missed somehow. Okay, so if I see the chart here again, it will show me a scattered line chart. So based on what you want to pass here, all depends on that. Level y-axis, effective month, and you can say expected rewards. But okay, this is how it looks like. Now next is, again we should replace the schema first. Okay, in the silver schema I want to find the minimum distance covered and the minimum step count for this month. So it says the minimum distance was 1.97, 1.15, and for effective one, minimum step count for this distance was 3258. Now if you see the chart here again, you can change it as per your requirements, right? So it shows us like this in the heat grid. Okay, next thing what I wanted to show, how to remove the duplicates. So for the duplicates, what we do is we will write a query to remove the duplicates. So I found the duplicates in 2 tables. One is the distance table and one is the, I think, the goals table. Let's quickly check them out and we can delete those duplicates. I think I've already have that query before your consumption layer. So in the consumption layer there was one more error. So if you see this table, I'll show you. So this table in effective date, this is how the date got loaded. It is not in YYYMDT format. Now how to correct this? So in order to correct this, there is one simple method and there are one complicated method. One simple method is either you load the file again from your stage, but this is a very complex process since there are a lot of dependencies right on your data. One, you cannot drop the table and you can do that, and you cannot delete the records, so there might be chances something else got deleted. So in that case what we can do is we can fix this. We can create a new column using the combination of customized columns. So what I did is I extracted the month first from this, then I extracted year, okay, and then I extracted the dates, the day, okay, basically. So here after doing all this, it is giving me, and then I concatenated the year, the day, and the date. Since it was since it was actually accounting this as your year, which is not correct. It should account 2025 as the year, but this was accounting 0031 as the year, which was wrong. So I extracted this as year, okay, but then I concatenated this part as my date in order to get the required effective date. Okay, so it now it looks like 2025-01-30-31, which is correct, right? But this was wrong. So how we can do that? So there are two ways. Like I told you, you can load your file again. That is one way, and delete the existing records with this date. Otherwise, the another way out is just create a new column with the customized column, like I have done. Select to date as effective date to have this date. Then extract the month, extract the year, extract the day, and then concatenate your date, your day, your month, and with a hyphen. So I'm doing what? I'm adding 20 as a prefix since it was only accumulating 25, and then I'm using what? Day, since this is accounting this as a day, which is wrong, but then we have to also MMDD, you have to go by the format. So I'm accounting this day as effective date, then using a concatenation operation I'm using a hyphen, then accounting, adding a 0, 2025, right? So adding a 0, then accounting the month. Since I do not want the month to be a single digit, I want the month to be a double digit. Since 11 and 12, 10, 11 and 12 have two digits, but all other months have one digit. So I wanted it to be two digits, so I added a 0 here. So that for all the values from 1 to 9, 1 to 9, it should also have two digits instead of a single. So I've added a 0 here, then the month effective date. So I have extracted the month, then again adding a hyphen over here and extracting the year from the effective date. So this gives me my required effective date, which is effective required date. So this is one way you can correct and transform your data. Other way is out is obviously you can reload your data, right? So this is using SQL and Python, you can do that. Simply converting this to a notebook also will help you out to create your data frames and then execute all the queries in SQL. Now, after doing this, okay, I was talking about your duplicates. How to handle duplicates? So there are two ways to handle duplicates. One is to using a rank or a dense rank function, which is your Windows function, but sometimes it doesn't allow us to use it here in our query. So if let's say let me show you the goals table first, right? The distance sample and the goal sample. So in the distance sample, if I select start from distance, you can see there are two IDs. Okay, if you see the first column and second column, these two are duplicates, right? One. Uh, these are identical duplicates, so it's very difficult to find how to delete those duplicates. In order to do that, what we will do is we'll write a query. Select goal name, count goal ID. I want to count which, since this is the goal table, so goal ID is your primary key here, as total from goal sample group by 1, having count of goal ID is greater than 1. So wherever goal ID, it accumulates the goal ID, total of goal ID, count of goal ID greater than 1, it will let me know this is a duplicate. So if I run and execute this query, it is showing me the goal name which I have selected and the goal ID is 1. It is showing me it is the total count is 2. So this is the particular record which I need to handle and remove as a duplicate record, right? Similarly for the distance sample, it was running and it was again 1 with a distance as 5k. So 5 kilometer distance was twice. It was coming 2 times. It was loaded 2 times. So we need to handle this duplicate value. How can we do that? Again, I'll select what? I'll select the column as distance ID, which is the primary key for the, which holds the primary key for your distance sample table, and I'm going to select the distance cover, distance type, and effective date, and count of total distance ID. So I'm gonna count the total number of occurrences of this column. On the basis of the total number of occurrences of this column, it is going to let me know, okay, which are the two records, which are duplicates here, having count of distance ID greater than 1. Since we are only looking for the unique and the distinct records, so if we'll do this, we'll get the unique record. So here, if you see, this is the column it shows me with the distance ID 1, you have two duplicate records. How many total counts are there? There are two distance IDs with the same record, with the same effective date, and with the same values in the distance type and the distance covered. So this is how we handle duplicates, right? Now we have almost done everything. So I've finally loaded my data inside the bronze layer, silver layer, and gold layer in the Mendelian architecture. Following that, and showing you all the tables. So let me show the activity table. So this, we are inside the gold. Okay. Here. Let me just show you all the tables. Let's first run the activity sample. Okay, so we have walking, running, cycling, aerobic, sprint. This is our final consumption layer data ready for consuming. Okay, for the stakeholder analysis. This is not silver, actually I should change the name. This is the gold level. Use case demo for the gold level. This is our transformation. Okay, so this was the activity sample. You can see the details here, and if you want you can change the columns over here. Next is the achievement ID. It is showing you here. You can select the achievement ID instead of customer ID. Okay, it is changing. Similarly, I can select the activity name. So by walking and running, it is accumulating 198. For cricket, it is this. Okay. Similarly, in the badges sample, let's quickly run this. See the results. So these are all my badges sample. If you want to see it on a chart, you can do that. Now here I'm gonna do what? Show me the badges name with something as badge coin generated. It says for 15 kilometer, two times they have attained the badge. For 12, they have attained 15 points. For 10 kilometer, they have attained 10 points. 8 kilometer, they have attained number of times. Total count of the badge name. How many times the customer has attained that? They have attained it 13 times, like that. Now, similarly for the calorie sample, okay, let's go here. So in the calorie sample, it was accumulating the date-wise calories being accounted. If you want to see the chart, you can simply do it here as select the calories. Where is the calorie? Here is the calorie count with what I want it with the effective date. So it says, okay, on 31st, you have accumulated count of calories. No, I want a sum of calories. Yes, not count. Okay, it is going to x-axis. X-axis series bar. Okay, so you can do that any which ways. Right, next is your challenges sample. So here it is like all the fact for the challenges table. Now customer calorie sample. So it is going to account the customer first name, customer board ID, goals ID, distance ID, activity ID, and so on. Effective date, step count, distance covered, first name, last name, points to be added, and all the validity period. Next is customer sample, like I mentioned, first name, last name, and some demographic data for the customers, right? Phone number, address, customer state, city, zip code, and the type of device they are using. Next is daily sample update and the distance sample I've already shown you, goal sample I've already shown you. Right, so this is how I have created my table, and I have created my use case for calculating and capturing the calories and viewing them on a chart. Right, hope you liked it, and you can also do the same. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Have a nice day. See you later. Bye bye. Happy Saturday.